Hello, I'm Sarah Turner and I'm going to show you how to create a headdress from plastic bags. So it's all recycled, all handmade by yourselves, and I'll show you how to make it. So here are the materials you are going to need. Firstly, plastic bags. So any kind of plastic bag will do. I've got this one that's like a bag for life. I've got another one which is more of a flimsy kind of single-use bag. Both will work absolutely fine. To do the kind of decorations and add the colour, you've got a few options. You can use like a permanent marker, that works quite well. I've got these paint pens, they work really well as well. I also really like nail polishes too. They always work really well on waste plastics, so I think they're a good option too if you've got a few lying around at home. Another couple of things you're going to need, a paper fastener. You're going to need one per flower, so however many you make, that's how many you need. Also a piece of blue tack and like a sharp kind of pointy object. You might use a compass point. I've got one of these Braddles. Also might need a little bit of sellotape and a glue stick. And lastly, if you're going to make a headdress, you're going to need recycled card or any kind of card. That could be like a cereal packet or something. Alternatively, if you're going to create a brooch or a corsage instead, you're just going to need a safety pin instead of the cardboard. So that's everything, apart from, of course, a good pair of scissors to actually cut the plastic bag, so that would be quite handy. Right, let's get started making our flowers. So here are the flowers from the example headdress that I created. They're from 3 different coloured plastic bags. I tried to recreate the Damascus Rose. I just kind of googled some images of the Damascus Rose to try and use it as a bit of inspiration really and try to recreate them. So I'm just going to get a plastic bag, and I've managed to find this kind of plain white one which I think will be quite good. There's quite a lot of white areas there. So I'm just going to cut a bit out so we've got something to kind of work with. So I could probably make a whole flower out of just this section here. So to get started, I want to cut out a circle from the plastic bag. You're going to need a few of these circles and then layer them together to create the finished flower. So you can draw around something round if that helps you. So I've got a mug here. You can just do it freestyle if you'd prefer, because it doesn't matter if it's not quite like an exact circle. So if you don't have anything round to draw around, don't worry too much. And then I'm just going to cut it out. Again, doesn't have to be really neat or anything. And I always try and cut the pen marks off, because if you used a pen that was like a dark colour or something, you wouldn't want that to show on your flower. So I'd recommend doing that. So that's going to be the basis of our flower. Now, I did a technique which seemed to work really well, because the edges, it doesn't look very kind of delicate like the flower does in real life. And what I found is if you kind of pull a little bit, like so, you see how it's really changing that edge there and making it look a little bit more organic, a little bit more like a flower. Let me just go around pulling at all the edges. So yeah, I think that's more reminiscent of what a flower should look like, what the Damascus Rose looks like anyway. You see that I've ripped a bit off by accident, but actually I think it kind of adds to the look a little bit, makes it look a bit more like the tattiness of the edges of a flower sometimes. So I might try and rip every now and again. Let's try and do one there. There we go. I think that looks quite nice. I'll do it every now and again. So yeah, we've kind of transformed our circle there into something a little bit more natural looking shape. The next stage is going to be decorating the edge. So I thought this really helped the flower just look so much more prettier. Just thought it was a really good idea. So you could do that with the pens if you wanted to. or nail polish, I thought was a really good idea. So I'm just going to go on the edges of the nail polish. And you kind of want to be quite messy with it, really. If you did like a really smooth line going around, it's not really the look we're going for, I don't think. So I'm just going to do it quite messily. You can see the look of it so far. Okay, so there's my finished part of the flower, so I'm just going to wait for that to dry. So this part of the flower is just about dry, and I've made a couple more, a little bit smaller each time, so then they can fit together nicely, like so. Also made a really teeny tiny piece for the centre, and I noticed from the photos of Damascus Rose that the centre was yellow, so I popped a little bit of yellow nail polish in the centre there, and that will look lovely all together. So I've got my kind of petals I'd like to attach all together. This is where the split pin is going to come in handy. Now we should be able to just push it all the way through the petals without kind of making any holes or anything, because it is just a kind of plastic bag. So put them all together how you want them, and then just firmly sort of push. You can see it's gone all the way through there, and that was quite a thick plastic bag, a bag for life. So if you've got a thinner one, it will go through even easier. That's gone through quite nicely, and then you can leave the little pin head like that, or I got some like sparkly nail polish and popped it on the top just to give it a little bit of bling, just to make it look even nicer. Okay, so the next stage is to make quite a few of these flowers. So I made them in slightly different colours. This is that flimsy kind of red bag that I showed you earlier. It still makes quite a nice flower. I just happened to have a pink plastic bag, so that was quite lucky. But you can see, if you don't just have to have a pink one, it just still worked quite nicely. So I thought those three all together would look quite nice on my headband. So the next stage is to create your headband. So I've cut a piece of card out. This could be from a cereal packet or any kind of packaging you've got left over. And what you want to do is kind of wrap that around your head and kind of overlap it a little bit. So that's how you know how long you'd like it to be. Wrap it around your head, overlap it by an inch or two, and then that's the right size for you. Next we're going to kind of arrange them on there how we'd like them, and then I'll show you how to attach them in. So I've got three, so I may as well pop one right in the very centre. You could, by the way, make loads and loads of these, go the full length if you wanted to. I'd love to see the results of that, but about halfway is there. I'll perhaps pop a little mark. Now the pins I don't think will go through this cardboard, it's too thick, so we're going to have to create a little hole. So how I've found is good to do that is pop a bit of blue tack underneath it, like so, and then you can get a compass point, or I've got one of these tools, you can then poke a hole in like that. A compass point would work just as well, or even just the end of a kitchen knife, or anything you've got really that's a little bit sharp, but be really careful. That's made the hole. I can now pop that in and open it, and then that'll be nicely and secure. The next one I'll put next to it, but can you see the issue I'm going to have? Let's just say it's going to be like about there. When I then bend it to wrap it around my head, can you see you get a big gap of cardboard there, which doesn't perhaps look so nice. You want them to look a little bit more sort of bunched together. So when you're working out where to put it, perhaps make sure it is curved like that, and then hold it on, because it will make a big difference. The first time I did this, I did it the first way and I had a really big gap in between. It just didn't look very nice. So it's about there. It's a lot closer together than you would think. So I've got my little mark. Again, I'll pop it underneath a bit of blue tack. Attach in. So yeah, flat, they look quite too bunched together really, but then when you curve them, it looks exactly in the right place. Last one there. Curved. There we go, about there. There we go. So now they're all on there nicely. You can see how the final piece is going to look. So the next stage is to assemble it together to make it into the headdress. One thing you might want to do is cover up these fastenings at the back, because that's sat against your forehead all day and might not be too comfortable. If you had like a piece of fabric you could put over the top, then that would be ideal. If not, a piece of cardboard will do. It's just something to protect your forehead from the sharp sort of fastenings there. So I'm just going to cut this to roughly the right size, and then perhaps a bit of Pritt stick and sellotape will help to secure it in position. So let's get me some Pritt stick over the top. There we go. Press that on, but we don't want to squash my flowers, so I'm just going to kind of push it on gently, and then perhaps a little bit of tape at either end will just really help to keep it on there nicely. Okay. So perhaps I'll make sure it's curved so it fits on nicely when it's curved, and then attach it on. Okay. So the last thing is to wrap it around your head and make sure you're getting the exact size that you would like, and then pop a bit of tape on there, and then it will all be finished. Let's get my tape back. Okay, I'll pop it on the outside. Wrap it round. Right, there is your flower headdress all finished. So if you prefer to make a brooch or perhaps a buttonhole instead of a headdress, so all you're going to do is use a safety pin instead. So you could have all of the flowers and like group them together on like a lapel. That would look really nice, or just the one would work as well. And all you need is a very simple safety pin. So I'm just going to go on the back, make sure the split pin is still nice and secure, and then just push it through the plastic bags. And that's it really. You can then push it through whatever you're wearing to turn it into like a brooch.